Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first inaugural episode of the internet's number 2 iCarly podcast, Let's Spaghetti Talk About It. Tom, you excited?
I'm excited. I'm ready to talk about so many different things this episode. We got a stack show with two of the world's biggest iCarly experts. Yeah, we got a stack show of predictions, of theories, of much more, to be honest, because the new reboot of the fan favorite show, iCarly, it's soon to drop, and we want to talk about it.
And talk about it we shall. That's very exciting, all the things that we're going to be tackling about today. Now, iCarly, it's a cultural landmark, wouldn't you say, Tom? I mean, it's influenced us and everything we've done so far.
It certainly has. I mean, it's had a big impact, certainly on my life, my creative outlets, just the way I kind of go about my life, and it certainly had an impact on a lot of other people, because whenever I bring it up, people are like, oh, iCarly, I used to watch that when I was a kid. And I think that's just kind of who this podcast is for, the people that kind of grew up with iCarly and are now coming back to the reboot and want to dip their toes back into some conversations about the show that we all love.
Yeah, I mean, it's the universal call sign that bonds our generation. I mean, I could be at a bus station, I could look over a fella's phone and he's watching iCarly, and we look at each other, we share eye contact, and we just know. Yeah. And so, yeah, we decided, well, there's a reboot coming out. Did you know that, Tom?
Yeah, I did. It's fresh on Paramount Plus, I think it is, and it's bringing back the majority of the original cast, minus Jeanette McCurdy as Sam Puckett. She will be missed, but most of the original cast is back. There's some new characters in here, and it promises to build off the original show while being a bit different. Very excited about it. How about you?
Yeah, I couldn't be happier. I mean, my relationship with the show is, if I have to make a confession, is I only saw up to season 2.
Oof.
I don't know if that's going to be a problem going forward, but
looks like I'm going to have to do some heavy lifting around here. As you know, I'm a bit of an iCarly nut, and I've seen episodes multiple times, but, you know, I'm sure I'll help you along on this journey, along with the lovely viewers out there.
Well, I like to learn, and learn I shall with this iCarly podcast. We've noticed that, you know, we might be treading slightly on other iCarly podcast ground. We think we've got a unique perspective on this. We're actually graduates of film and television, so we'll be applying some critical thinking and some critical studies to the program. And yeah, very excited to be doing this in the inaugural episode of Let's Spaghetti Talk About It. Tom, I've just been looking on the internet. Turns out there have been 3 episodes already, apparently.
Are you serious?
The internet doesn't lie.
I could be spending time with my kids right now and my wife, and you brought me onto this goddamn podcast, and you had to tell me the episode's already out. We could have been.
Look, pal, I mean, you know, we can talk about theories. We can talk about. We don't even have to talk about iCarly. We can talk about anything.
How? I don't even know how this eluded me, because, as you know, I'm an expert on everything iCarly, and it slipped through my goddamn fingers. I'm pissed.
Leave it all to me to start an iCarly podcast and not even know the episodes are out.
Buddy, with that, you won me back over. And I think it's ample time to maybe get into some topics. I know you've brought some things to talk about. What do you want to start with first? Theories, predictions? What's taking your fancy?
Well, the thing I think I'd like to kick things off with is, well, a rather disturbing, troubling headline, depending on the way you look at it. Jerry Trainor. No doubt about this. Jerry Trainor, star of the show. He was the heart of this, the jewel in the rough. That's not to put anyone else down, but, you know, I mean, it's a kids show. It can only go so far. And whereas if you wanted something a bit more, you always had to just take a look at Jerry's unique comedic sensibilities and expressions, and you'd be chuckling away. And so he's kind of been a bit of the spokesman for the new season. I'm seeing a lot of press centered around Jerry, and I'm glad that the lad's getting some exposure. And I just want to put this out there right now. Jerry, if you are listening, we'd love to have you on. I know it's a little bit early in the day to, we're prematurely shooting our wad, if you will. Jerry, you know, we'd love to have you on, talk to you about your process, where you trained, Juilliard perhaps, or maybe you're self-taught. I mean, could have fooled me. Tough puppy as well. We'd love to really get into that. So Jerry, or if anyone has access to Jerry, just ping us a Gmail, and we'll do everything we can to get him on. But no, this headline, Tom, could be raunch. iCarly star Jerry Trainor promises sexual situations in reboot. This is from page 6.
I don't know how to feel about that, if I'm honest. Just looking back at the original show, I mean, obviously it was a kid's show. There was certainly an element of Spencer going on different dates with various women across the series. You know, some of these situations were implied in the show. Spencer, he's a guy that fucks. I'm just going to say it. You know, we never delved into that. We never needed to, because it was all kind of hidden under the part of the thematic underbelly of the series, if you will. But bringing it into the forefront, I think it's I don't know how they're going to handle it.
All right, well, maybe I don't really see it the way you do. Dan Schneider, the king of children's entertainment, would necessarily espouse sexual values in a show. I don't think that's his style at all. There's not a hint nor a trace of anything along those lines, and I'm not really sure if you're bringing sexuality into this world. I mean, how far does it go before it just crumbles?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many different avenues that you could delve down with Carly, Freddie, Spencer enjoying their newfound life after the show. Is sex really something that we need to talk about? I mean, why don't they, talk about their new recipes that they've yeah, I'm picking stuff off the top of my head. The various things they've covered over, in the previous show. Obviously, you got the spaghetti tacos. You got the Sunshine Girl fudge balls. You got the classic lasagna that was in the series as well. Gibby's French fries. Are you kidding me? We're not going to follow up on that? It just boggles my mind. I mean,
how could they get it so wrong?
Obviously, iCarly was about a web show originally, and I worry that they could be going down the road of discussing things like Twitch has in recent years been under a lot of controversy with Twitch thoughts as they've come to be known, and that sort of thing. Is that the road that iCarly's going to go down? Because I think that's maybe not something that necessarily needs to be discussed on the show.
Congratulations, they've alienated the fan base. That's all I can say. But well, actually, I guess if you think about it, the internet, a lot of sex on there.
Yeah, I mean, this is for a different audience after all. They do have the opportunity to discuss more mature themes. I'm just questioning, okay, if they are going to talk about the sex, the raunch, whatever you want to call it, how are they going to address it? Is it going to be addressed in a nuanced way, or is it just kind of going to be in your face? Yeah, just
it beggars belief. It really does.
Because looking at the trailer, the show is going to be very different to how it's going to be familiar, but they're going to take things in different directions. And from the impression that I got from the trailer, it didn't really seem that way. It seemed very much seemed internally similar to what we kind of remember, even though it's kind of advanced many years and is intended for an older audience. So in a way, it's just kind of conflicting. These more mature themes with this still quite silly and random tone.
Oh, very kooky and random, which was funny. I will say this in Jerry's defense: the picture that they've used for the thumbnail of the article, he's wearing like this sort of white cashmere turtleneck, and there is definitely an air of sophistication with that image. And I think actually just seeing that in action, I'm thinking, well, yeah, I think they can pull it off.
Okay, I'm taking a look at it now, and
yeah,
I do see what you mean. He's they might be taking inspiration from real life, because I don't know if you've seen, or I was scrolling through Twitter as you do, and I just happened upon this random post related to the iCarly reboot. It was like I think it was a Bumble message matched with Jerry Trainer, and it was his actual profile. In real life, Jerry Trainer's just trying to catch a nut.
He's doing things that will inevitably lead to sexual situations.
I think I might have been turned around on this. If that's where the show wants to go and kind of mimic what's going on in Jerry's life to influence Spencer.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you've got people like Dan Schneider involved, you can't lose. So
yeah, it's true. The only missed opportunity is in terms of sexual situations. The Gibster, Gibby, Noah Monk. It's he's
DJ now. I was thinking, like we sort of we're a little bit younger than them in the show. We're maybe like 3 or 4 years younger or whatever, but we grew up alongside them. And I think I always knew, like, well, Gibby, he's got this air of confidence, this natural internal swagger. He seemed like someone to emulate, and it's a shame that we can't see where that journey led. I feel a bit, if we're going to continue to be so crude like the show now is, I feel blue-balled.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, there's always an opportunity for to show up maybe as a musical number on one of iCarly's shows. I think he's going under the mantle Noxic.
Really?
I think I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, and they had like musical guests in the past. They had the cast of Victorious on the show at one point. I think there's opportunity for Noah Monk to... I think he's kind of given up on acting, but that isn't to say that he can't come on the show as a musician.
True, yeah, much like the Plain White Tees did back in their heyday. I think I read somewhere that Gibby was supposed to get a spin-off, so maybe Noah just took that cancellation. Nickelodeon didn't pick up the pilot. Maybe he just took that really hard. I mean, I think I would if I was him. It's like Arwen from Sweet Life. He had his own spin-off lined up, and the cowards at Disney said no.
Well, were there going to be sexual situations in that as well?
Does Arwen really exude sex? I'm not so sure.
But maybe he could, grow into that role.
Yeah. Arwen Quentin Hockhauser is a recurring character in Sweet Life. Well, his middle name, Quentin Tarantino, that's a guy... Well, he's known for sexual situations in his film and his cinema, so maybe that was there the whole time.
A Tarantino directed Arwen series. I mean, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Hello.
Or even just a series of novellas. Maybe. I know he's kind of delving into the world of fiction, so I'd be up for that.
I think Zack and Cody's mum would have to come back for that as well, for sure, because there was a bit of romance between them in the original series, I think.
Well, they weren't they? Much like other sitcoms, although I don't think anyone maybe did it as well as Arwen and Kim. That was hate how I remember. Anyway,
good memory on you.
Thank
you. Got
you.
a very
Well,
good memory.
But this isn't a Sweet Life on Deck podcast. It's an iCarly podcast, and so with that we return to the discussion. What else did I have to say? I had a few things to say about this that I thought were worthy of creating a podcast for. Oh yeah, this is something, Tom, that I want to talk to you about, and I want to gauge the listeners. Well, actually, that doesn't really work now that the episodes are out and the question's probably answered, but
yeah, everything's fucking ruined.
I've read in all the press reports that Freddie's big thing in the show is that he's a stepfather, a parental figure, still navigating the trials and tribulations of your 20s. And so that's an interesting kind of juxtaposition there. But hang on a second. The guy's got a child, stepchild. You'd presume he has a wife. Well, where is she in this picture? I mean, it's not really reflective of good values.
You gone with Revan?
Yeah.
Why?
We're recording.
That's Tom's dad. He's actually funding the show.
Sorry. Wait, what's that? Good night.
No, sorry.
It's okay.
Wish him all the best.
Yeah. Sorry about that, listeners. My dad came in, and he's also a big iCarly fan, so he couldn't help himself from voicing in. Yeah, sorry. Let's refresh. Back to what you were saying.
This just doesn't line up. Is he unfaithful? Is Freddie Benson a dog?
Look, we had a very lengthy conversation about this very topic in preparation for this podcast, because I think this was honestly the kind of launch this idea for the podcast in the beginning, because it is quite a loaded plot element, because yeah, like you said, it's crazy to think that Freddie could ever do something to this nature. But you have to remember, it's been how long since the original show? Things change. Freddie Benson, he's grown up. He might have gone through a lot of horrible experiences. I mean, if you just think back to the kind of abuse that he suffered when he was with Sam, it was heartbreaking. And that's enough to change him. Yeah. Enough of that incessant torment in that relationship. A guy's gonna snap
for sure. And maybe like it's a good thing that Sam's not back, because to be honest, that was just a kind of toxic environment for them. It's occasionally a toxic environment as a viewer. Do the powers that be want to subjugate the viewers to that again? I just don't know. And I've actually got a post I found on Reddit, so it's worth me talking about, where someone they're watching the show for the first time. This is a fan of the show and a potential fan of this show, so I'll be talking about that at the tail end of today's episode. episode. We've got a few options on the table. Either, Freddy is a womanizer, a philanderer, a promiscuous fella, or perhaps she's passed away.
Yeah. Well, I voiced the idea that perhaps she's missing, and maybe that's sort of the ongoing storyline of the season. I think that could be quite interesting because, there was some serialized elements of the original show, but it never really delved into that too deeply. I think this could be a way, kind of Riverdale style, where there's like an ongoing mystery. Yeah, that could really hook people in on where's Freddy's wife.
No, I think that would be exciting, and it would set the show apart from its predecessor. I mean, and it's kind of murky ground as to whether or not this is its own thing or if it is just a continuation, but we'll see. And I am excited at the end of the day. So that's the Freddy angle, and something I'm very curious about. Carly, I don't really care. Am I allowed to say that?
Well, she's the star of the show.
Pulling funny faces, and
What are you saying?
Being the center of attention. Got no time for that. So
it sounds like you got something to say. I'm afraid. I just please spit it out, man.
Look, I just think, and I don't know, I've never seen anyone talk about this on the internet, but I'm sure everyone's feeling it. I think, okay, Miranda Cosgrove, one of the biggest child stars back in her day. Now I think she's in Despicable Me, so picking up a pretty penny, I'm sure. But her character of Megan in Drake and Josh, a seminal character in fiction, television, and she played that part very, very well. I think you can agree with that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, we studied her in film school. I mean,
we did, yeah.
It was quite an important chapter of the whole module, Megan's character. So yeah, I'd say she's had a massive impact on, television, cinema, everything in between.
The Megan archetype. And I would say very good in School of Rock. I mean, that's a film I revisit all the time. I don't want to question Dan Schneider's leadership, his instinct for creating great pieces of TV, but there's something about that character that's just missing. So I'm not criticizing Miranda Cosgrove here. I think the character was consistent enough to see that it was a series of choices that she made as an actress across 6 odd seasons of a show. But for me, there's just something not right about her as a character, something that, I was watching it for everyone but Carly. Again, it just looks like more of the same. Ooh, Carly goes on a date. Carly films an episode of a show.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of shows where it's like the side characters are much more interesting than the main one. I do, in some ways, iCarly does suffer from that, where Carly is definitely the least interesting aspect of her own show, and it is a bit of a shame because you go in thinking, oh, this show's called iCarly. She's gonna, we're gonna find out about this very interesting character. Maybe we'll go into some more interesting lessons and arcs for Carly. But definitely in the original show, Gibby, Luba, Freddy's mum. These are characters.
Mrs. Briggs
as well. She's got some great storylines.
Yeah.
But Carly, I mean, what's she got? She meets Fred one time.
Ooh, the internet's funny man Fred.
Yeah, Lucas Cruikshank himself.
Yeah.
He appeared on the show. I think One Direction was on the show as well. That's the thing. The side pieces are more interesting and intriguing than Carly herself.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview with Miranda Cosgrove, and she was saying how it was very easy to kind of step back into the role because Carly's very much like herself. But to me, Carly's just a very...
I don't like that.
Yeah, her character archetype is just normal woman. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
She doesn't really have many defining characteristics. She's a go-getter, I guess. She's a self-starter. But other than that, I don't know.
Maybe I'm just jealous. Because, quite frankly, the show paraded, bragged about the privilege of these characters, I think. And I think it let false expectations to children about what was possible. No 12-year-old's that good with a camera setup and all that equipment that Freddie had. I just don't buy it for 1 second. And we went to uni to do film, and we weren't even taught how to work those cameras, so God knows how he learned. But
I mean, we did them all on iPads, so... I mean,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, first year, first term, iPad film.
That was pretty cool.
I mean, Tangerine was shot on an iPhone, so maybe we're the problem. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we're not as ambitious as we could be.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't like to think about that for too long though, because otherwise I'll just get depressed again. We want a successful podcast that people enjoy week after week.
Exactly. I think that leads us directly into maybe some predictions for what we think might be happening now that we know that the show is... I mean, the show's out, so people will instantly know whether we're right or wrong or not. But I think it's fair for us to predict what we think might happen in the show as a whole. Did you have any predictions going into this?
Well, I do. I imagine that there's going to be a storyline where Carly gets cancelled for something.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I've talked a fair bit of smack about iCarly for someone who's doing a show about it already, and I do want to backtrack a little bit. I think it predicted the current climate we live in.
Yeah.
Carly was basically the original influencer, and she's been doing it for longer than anyone else. So maybe she does know a few things. But I think with that, can you imagine the things that Carly Shay would have tweeted during high school and college?
Oh boy.
We weren't around for. Like, I feel like you could do a whole season about this, a PR disaster that Carly brings upon herself. You know, we all live and we learn, and hopefully she has too. So that's my prediction. Carly gets cancelled. Maybe there's like a video of Freddie doing something. I don't want to say what. What do you think Freddie could have done?
Going back to the kind of missing wife thing, I think that's where it all culminates. And there's a video of evidence that heavily suggests that Freddie was responsible for his missing wife. And rather than kind of reporting Freddie to the authorities with this evidence, he just gets cancelled on Twitter instead. And
some would say that's more damning than judicial action. So
yeah, and he has to put a notes app apology on Twitter saying, I did not kill my wife, I did not hide her body in the lake, that sort of thing. And it's very candid, it's very open, but people just don't want to, they don't accept it, and then they go to the next James Charles video, and they're loving it, even though he's in all these controversies.
Yeah.
But Freddie over here, just because he's been implicated in this thing that he didn't even do, so I think that's where it's headed in terms of that cancelling storyline.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something I don't want to see in the show, is any people like James Charles,
like real influence.
Yeah, like if David Dobkin or what's that guy's name?
David Dobrik.
David Dobrik. Yeah, I don't want him anywhere near. I was thinking actually, I mean, Josh Peck, surely there's some skeletons in his closet.
That's something they could address on the show. I mean, has Josh Peck or Drake ever shown up on iCarly before? I don't think so.
Well, Drake... okay, guys, I didn't mean that about Josh Peck, because I'd love to have him on the show as well. He's going to be in that new Turner and Hooch show for Disney+, so big things for that guy who was in Ice Age. We're big fans on the show of Ice Age, aren't we, Tom?
We're the biggest Ice Age fans on the planet, yeah.
Future friend of the show, Josh Peck there.
Not David Douchebrick.
No!
Fuck that
Get
guy.
out of here,
Actually,
mate.
fuck that guy.
I just learnt about him as a person a few days ago and was monitoring that situation with Jeff Wittick or something, about how he slammed his face into a crane.
Yeah, but I think they're still making videos together. Very strange.
That's the thing, like, this Jeff guy is now exploiting that experience into this 4-part documentary, and it's one of the worst documentaries I've ever seen, and then he's blurring out his face and saying that if anyone's gonna exploit his injury monetarily, it's going to be him and his team. So you have to go to Patreon to...
It's quite weird. Like, in that situation, I wouldn't... If I was David Dobrik, I wouldn't know how to feel about that. Like, while also seemingly still being his friend, it's just very bizarre.
It is very bizarre.
I don't really understand it.
But maybe, I mean, sure, like, I think iCarly could actually have a great sort of recurring character of an influencer, a bit like that. Maybe there's a kind of rival group of YouTubers, and maybe Freddie gets pulled in. He gets sucked into that world of high stakes buffoonery, and he starts living that lifestyle. Maybe that was this. Maybe this is Freddie's past, and maybe we'll get into that. Maybe there could be a Better Call Saul type spin-off prequel series about Freddie, and maybe this is how he loses the wife. I don't know why he still have custody of the daughter, mind you, but we'll get those answers, I'm sure.
If he was part of like a vlog squad type of community back in the day, I'm sure he would have used his daughter in some way to kind of get views and
stepdaddy of one.
Oh god, that's definitely gonna come.
Yeah,
I think that's an interesting idea. I do wonder what other YouTubers they can parody or include in the show. If they are gonna have, and I'm sure they're gonna have other influences, I would rather they just kind of make up their own parody versions rather than get the real thing. Unless, speaking of David Dobrik, Jang Bricks bring the lesser known YouTube community, the Lego community, do a whole episode about that.
Niche YouTube communities. For those who don't know, Jang Bricks is perhaps you could say the king of the Lego YouTube community, and he's got just a great, very warm personality, and yeah, he'd be fun on the show, just as himself.
Yeah, you could just show up, review a Lego set. Maybe that's like a B story with Spencer, and Spencer kind of gets into Lego for like an episode, and he's like, oh yeah, I really love this. Makes like an art installation with some Lego, brings Jang Bricks in to review his mock. I think that would just be awesome.
Maybe Jang Bricks lives on a horse ranch and invites Spencer down, and they're sort of riding horses together in I don't really know where that would go, but it's nice imagery.
Definitely. It's kind of one of those, it's the typical trope of like a temporary but a lifelong friend that you make in an episode, but then they have to like depart and go their own way by the end of it, so that brings it back to the status quo. I think that's how Jang Bricks could be incorporated into iCarly.
Spencer flirting with another life. I'd like to see Spencer have a bit more agency, just see him out on his own. I'd love that. And that could be a perfect foray into that. Spencer's new mate. I like that. And then also we should definitely mention Carly's got a new BFF.
Yeah. That's certainly a different direction. I'm just going to
look at what the character's name is. I don't know.
I have no idea. Harper, Carly's roommate, they're played by Lacey Mosley.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
We don't really know much about this character. I'm not sure if she's kind of a surrogate audience character where Carly's kind of, telling her how this whole thing works, catching her up to speed with her life, her past life as a internet star, or whether she's also an influencer herself and has kind of pushed Carly back into the limelight and encouraged her to take on the iCarly mantle again.
Phil Lewis, fans of the show might know him as Marion Mosby from The Sweet Life. So a lot of connections here, guys. He's actually the director on many of the episodes. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly got the expertise, the knowledge from his time working on Zack and Cody as an actor. I'm not sure whether he's involved with any of the production. It is interesting that he's very involved with the show because he's also executive producer alongside Miranda Cosgrove. So it's clear that he's in the DNA of this reboot. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of sitcom tricks of the trade that he brings to the directing of the premiere.
But no sign of Dan Schneider. I don't know. I wonder why he's not involved.
Yeah, it's an interesting peculiarity. I mean, it says that it was created by Dan Schneider, but I don't know if that was just because he created the original show or
a Schneider's Bakery behind the scenes. I mean,
I'm just looking at the production companies. It's by Museum Visit and Nickelodeon Productions. So Schneider's Bakery is nowhere to be seen. I mean,
Museum Bakery? No, Museum Visit.
Yeah, it sounds a bit boring, doesn't it?
What the hell?
A bakery sounds awesome, but a museum? What?
No, I didn't sign up for that. All right, well, I'm 50-50, Tom, on whether or not I'm going to like this, but
yeah, it's a toss-up because on one hand, Museum Visit, boo, boring, gross.
For sure.
The other side, Nickelodeon Productions, fun.
Are you kidding me?
Slime. This is great.
This is friggin' sick, and I think they'll be using similar language now that the chains are off.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to ask you about. Do you think they're going to drop the C-bomb?
Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know. I guess if it's organic, if they find a part in the script they think, I think Spencer would say this, I would say sure, go for it,
Yeah, because he's the only character that could.
Yeah.
He's the only one capable.
He gets away with things like that, and if he did want to say cock on the show, then that's fine.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. Just going back to Spencer for a bit, because I'm reading here that and from the trailer we know that he's become sort of wealthy. He's come into a certain amount of riches this time around. Because in the original show he was a struggling artist. He would make these weird, wacky creations that no one really understood. But now he's on top of the world. He's got all this money, but we don't really know why. I guess it must be from all the art being successful. Do you think maybe there's something more sinister going on behind the scenes, Revan?
Sorry, wait. Stop the presses. I just found a picture online. I don't know if anyone knows about this, but it's a picture of Michelle Obama in the attic.
Oh yeah.
And Dan Schneider is like, he's like whispering into her ear like sweet nothings, I think.
Oh no. Oh god, I just seen this. Oh no.
This is just
What's
me
he doing?
Typing in Dan Schneider's name into Google. Maybe this is why he's not doing the show because the president didn't like him touching his woman.
I mean, I would not blame him because that's too close. That's way too close. Was Michelle holding like a plastic bag full of like miscellaneous?
It looks like nuts and bolts. Yeah, like she's been to IKEA and she's helping Dan put up a shelf.
Here, hold this. Oh.
I'd implore anyone to look this up. It seems to be the only thing about Dan that's maybe not as positive.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's a bit sus, if you will.
He's a god of entertainment. But no, I don't really like this. I'm actually using my parents' work laptop to do this. I might actually put this as the background. But
oh, nice, yeah. I think they'll enjoy that, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like Dan understands personal space, but coming across lots of other images now and don't really enjoy what I'm seeing. Found one of actually looks a bit like LMFAO in the background, and Sam's hugging a gentleman, and Dan couldn't help himself. He's joining in.
He's right in there. Oh no.
Oh, this is Kel. It's Kel from Keenan and Kel.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like LMFAO in the background. I don't know. I probably am completely off base with that, but
taking a look. Yeah.
But there's another picture I've seen here of Dan and Drake Bell at an event, and they've sort of got their arms around each other, and they look like they're good mates. So if it's good enough for Drake, it's good enough for me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, ultimate Spider-Man himself.
Yeah, it's good enough for me.
Speaking of villains, Neville Papperman is returning. Reed Alexander's reprising the role, and he was the former nemesis of iCarly. Do you think he's going to come back as a villain, or will he be kind of a reformed internet journalist that is trying to help Carly this time around?
He's a piece of shit, you know? He's not a nice guy, not a nice character, and I would hate for him to be redeemed in any capacity. So I'm going to say, yeah, I hope he is a villain, and I hope the team brings him down once and for all.
Yeah, he's not like Kylo Ren or Zuko from Avatar, where you can have this redemption arc. Because, frankly, Neville's done too much wrong. I think the only way to bring him back is by having him just keep on being a piece of shit.
I just associate him with hummus. Was he eating hummus in his episodes or something? Was that a thing?
I can have a look. My knowledge doesn't extend that far. I mean, like, I remember I'm associating that with Lubert instead. I feel like maybe Lubert was eating hummus. Oh no, tapenade.
What is that?
It's tapenade hummus.
Is that hummus?
Yeah, it's. I think it is hummus. Olive tapenade hummus. Yeah, he was obsessed with it.
Oh, you'll rue this day, Carly Shay.
Classic line. Yeah, I've just searched up Neville Papperman, and it's just him with like tapenade all over his face.
It's yuck.
It's kind of horrible. A lot of weird images. Yeah, I think he's listed as a guest star, so I think luckily for your sake, I think I'll just be one and done, in and out. So let's keep it that way, because we want to keep it focused on, the main trio. Yeah. Where have they been? What have they been doing?
I sort of vaguely remember seeing maybe one of the last episodes, because I kind of tapped out of the iCarly game because my mum was just making me feel too self-conscious about watching it. She kind of just come into the room and give me a look, and I just feel like her estimation of me dropped whenever I'd be watching it. So I had to grow up quickly. So I only watched up to season 1 and 2. We did actually get, like, we moved into a new house and we had a TV in the basement, and my brother and I would kind of watch it in there. But by that point, I was gone. I was, on to bigger and better things like collecting Lego, but I do remember kind of checking out a later episode, and I think that Freddy was getting with Sam.
Yeah, that was a later storyline, and a big shock, because obviously the big will they won't they of the series up to that point were between Carly and Freddy. So I think they'll definitely have to address the elephant in the room, because it was a big part of the original show. Now that Sam is out of the picture, I think that leaves the room for Freddy and Carly's relationship to blossom, perhaps.
Oh my god! Actually, this is maybe my final prediction, but I had a dream about a week ago.
Yeah.
And in the dream, I was, when you have dreams and you're in your house, but it's not really your house or whatever, and there was a door at the end of the corridor. Opened it up, and there's a sort of, like a modestly sized hall. And the hall is packed with people, like we're at a sort of small, intimate gig. But the gig was rowdy, and people were hyped. And there was a stage, and there was a set, and it was the set for iCarly, the show. They were sort of, it was the segment of the show where they've got a musical guest on, and Avril Lavigne comes out and starts doing her thing. It was I couldn't believe that, Avril Lavigne was there, and she finishes her song, and then the three Wilson brothers come on, and that's Owen, Luke, and Andrew Wilson.
Oh my God.
They've got some like kind of rap rock outfit, and then they're performing, and I just couldn't believe that.
Wow.
Such an eclectic guest star list, and it was just incredibly exciting. And Sam was there, so that's how I knew I was in a dream. Time to wake up.
Oh.
And my mum kept coming into the hall as she did when I was younger, and I'd be watching the show, but she seemed so confused, like she couldn't actually see the stage. She's like, "What's going on in here?" But she just didn't know. And we were at a gig basically in my house, and then she would walk out. And then the guy running, I guess the producer of iCarly, was kind of saying like to me, well, look, if she keeps doing this, we're going to have to rethink about where we shoot this show. What started out as a fun evening where I discovered that they're filming a hit show in my house, sort of ended up with me wrestling with the idea of, well, get it together and make sure that my mum doesn't keep sort of interrupting the flow of things.
And you predict this is going to happen in the show?
Something along those lines. Actually, someone interviewed me saying, "What do you make of all this?" And I said, "I can't believe it. The Queen of Pop herself is here."
Wow. That's pretty bold, especially when we know there's another Carly who would have a lot to say about Carly Shay being the Queen of Pop. Well, that was actually another point that I was going to bring up related to that. So, Fuller House, the sequel series, you know what they did for the theme song?
Yeah.
They got Carly Rae Jepsen to record the theme song, the classic.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere, that song. Carly Rae Jepsen did it, and it's incredible. It makes the song a million times better. And I think that's
a pretty good get.
It is. But the thing is, the reboot of iCarly missed their chance because it's just Miranda Cosgrove and Drake Bell spinning their wheels, doing their thing again. But they missed the perfect opportunity for a Carly to do a cover of this Carly song. I mean, and it would have been incredible. It would have
Goosebumps.
been the best rendition of the song yet. All I'm saying, guys, it's season 2. I'm praying, I'm hoping that Carly Rae Jepsen is brought on board for this ambitious project because...
Yeah.
Well, what you could even do is get Owl City back, because famously we know that Carly Rae Jepsen and Owl City collaborated on Good Time, the hit. Song came out, I think, 2013, I want to say. But you could have Owl City doing, Drake Bell's parts. You could have Carly Rae Jepsen doing Miranda Cosgrove's
I like it a lot.
It just makes sense. And they blew it. But season 2, that's all I'm saying. Phil Lewis.
But I'm excited. I remain optimistic. I don't know when I plan on viewing these episodes. When are you going to watch them?
Well, as soon as we stop recording, I'm afraid, because you prevented me from goddamn listening to watching the show. So just because I have a wife and kids to feed every goddamn day in day I go to work, goddamn earning my paycheck, doing my thing, working late, trying to get a goddamn paycheck.
Yeah.
Just because I'm doing that, and you don't do me a solid and just tell me when the iCarly reboot is coming out. But I have time.
Freddie's got those issues, and he's not worrying about things. He's just, he's dating. So why don't you could just do that?
Well, he killed his wife.
We don't know this. We don't know.
I think he did.
Okay, all right.
We'll agree to disagree, and
I'm just saying. Lighten up, buddy. It's just a family. It's not that big of a deal.
If this is going to continue, I really don't. I don't know. I don't. Anyway, we'll air our grievances.
Well, you always had thin skin, but that's besides the point. I think maybe we can say goodbye.
Yep.
And that was a smooth way to do so. Now I'll say this again. Well, guys, that about wraps up the show. I did have something else I wanted to share with you, but I think maybe that can wait till next week now. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's just being able to do this for you all and to talk with you, Tom, despite that little spat we just had.
Yeah, well, we'll obviously you'll cut that out in editing, so it won't matter anyway. The viewers won't listen, but overall this has been a pleasant experience, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk about that topic that you were going to bring up, and many more, because we've got a roadmap ahead of us that we've planned ahead, and it's an exciting one for sure. So when we do get to see the episodes, tune in.
Yeah, well, this is the plan, guys. Is every week we'll be viewing the episode and talking about it. And there's going to be a bit of that, a bit of a discourse surrounding the episodes. Each week we'll be breaking it down, and again, hopefully by the end of the season, we'll actually have Jerry on, and we can just talk to him about the experience. So we're really excited about this journey.
Definitely, and if you do want to get in touch and let us know what you think about any of the iCarly episodes, new or old, please get in touch. Send us a Gmail, send us a LinkedIn request, send us do people use MySpace still? Probably not. Just find our Twitters, and get in touch. We want to listen. Hashtag let's spaghetti taco about it. Use the hashtag.
Let's get it going, people.
Let's get this conversation go.
All right. Okay. We'll ciao then, guys.
See you later.
Você vai ver que o mundo vai mudar pra mim e ser incrível, sim. Viver a vida, eu sei que a gente vai chegar lá. Que incrível sensação. Sua ideia eu vou mudar. Isso sempre acontece, tudo é real. Eu só disse como me sinto pra acordar os membros dessa nação. É o tempo pra ser sem chance pra quem não quer tentar e nem enxergar o lado bom de cada situação. Tem coisa que é pra ser, deu seu melhor, deixe o resto pra mim.